You will love his wit and smile when he shares his charm with you. He's got a star that can't be denied on Lee Pitts Live. Come on and listen. You will enjoy and learn if you're wise. There's talking and singing. Everything is there to keep you swinging. We're glad you turned in to Lee Pitts Live.
Southwest Floyd, we apologize for the first Friday. We'll take care of that next show, but want to remind you that we have a dandy election that's coming up for judge, for Lee County commissioners. So a lot of things are going on out there. We encourage you to get out there and read. Go to these websites that you see on the screen, and you're certainly going to see Dave Shestokas, who's running for Lee County judge. His website will be on the screen throughout the interview. So we're delighted to welcome him here for the first time on the show. Attorney Shestokas.
Good morning, Lee.
We'll be looking forward to getting that attorney off your name when you're able to put judge in front. What's that going to be like for you to be? I know you don't want to spook yourself.
I don't want to spook myself. I certainly don't want to give myself sort of bad luck from that standpoint, but certainly I'd be very, very excited to have happen.
Lee County Judge Group 3. You got from looking at all the background on you vis-a-vis the other candidates, you have more experience in the judicial system than any of them. And in fact, if you combined all of them, what does that do in terms of your ability to be a Lee County judge?
I think in terms of my ability to be a Lee County judge, I think it gives me a leg up on everybody else. I've had the opportunity to be in court, appear in court on more than 20,000 cases. Mm-hmm. As you said, that's probably more than the rest of the guys combined. Mm-hmm. From that standpoint. But more importantly, I've been both a prosecutor and a defense attorney. I spent 5 years. Actually, I was a prosecutor in Cook County, Illinois, the largest unified court system in the country. Mm-hmm. They swore me in the morning. In the afternoon, they gave me 400 cases. I asked them. I said, "Gee, this is wonderful. I'm happy to do some work, you know." And they said, and I said, "When do we have to do this?" And they said, "This afternoon." Mm-hmm.
Does a large legal background in those types of processes? Is that more important to being a judge, or the ability to relate to a wide range of people, economically speaking, socially, race, and so on?
I'd say there's a combination, a couple of things that people want to look for in a judge. Certainly one of them is legal experience, because you have to have some idea of what's going on in the courthouse, in the courtroom, and the administrative aspects of that. But as important would be your life experience and your exposure to, as you say, people and different demographics. And strangely enough, I don't know that people put this down as necessarily a qualification to be a judge, but before I was an attorney, I used to sell beer. Mm-hmm. And
that's interesting.
And yeah, it is interesting. I used to work on a truck.
Okay, regular guy selling beer on a beer truck, legal stuff.
Absolutely,
all right,
absolutely. Yeah, I worked on a beer truck, and you know the interesting thing about that is of course beer crosses every social demographic that you can imagine. And during the course of that period of my life, it took me into contact with every kind of people, every kind of neighborhood, good neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods. And while I was doing that work, I was treated with respect wherever I was going. And as a result of that, I learned that it's very, very important to treat people with respect, whomever they may be.
And we understand that those judge jobs pay about $130,000 a year. Are you in it for the money?
No, not at all.
But is that to say you do it for free?
No, I wouldn't.
Let's go back to realistic though. The money. You're not in it for the money, and why should we believe you?
Why? Because first-year law students these days that graduated at the top of their class like I did, that served on law review like I did, started about $150,000.
Okay.
And I've been a lawyer for 23 years. I've got significant experience. So the opportunity to make more than $130,000 exists. Plenty of places otherwise.
I like that answer. Now, you have the opportunity as a lawyer to interact with judges on a regular basis over the years. Was there something about the judges that you liked and that you want to continue, and is there anything about being a judge that you dislike that you're going to have a problem adjusting to?
In terms of things that I like, one of the things that I certainly want to do that I don't see judges do enough of is explain to folks not only what the decision was, but why it happened. Mm-hmm. I've been, over the last few years, I've been doing a lot of writing on legal subjects on an online magazine called Suite 101. And I explain the law. If you want to find out about Florida suspended license law, if you want to find out about Florida misdemeanor law, you can go to my writings. And I found that it's very, very important that people be educated once they come into the system. The interesting thing about the Lee County judge job is they handle more cases than any other court in the court system. So they come in contact with more people. And if somebody walks out of that courthouse not only unhappy with the decision, but have no idea why it happened, that creates a little crack in their social system.
I see.
And I believe that one of the important things about that job is that the judge take the time, not only to make the decision properly, not only to do it impartially, not only to hear the facts, but to explain to the folks that came in there for what is their most important moment of their life at that time, why something happened.
We often see that, well, we know for a fact that in the judicial process, disproportionately, you will have more minorities who get incarcerated, who get what would be considered the rough end of the verdicts by the judges. It's a disproportionate amount of minorities who are incarcerated. What's your thoughts about that disproportionality, and what would you do to change it if you had an interest in trying to change things?
In terms of an interest in trying to change things, of course, that the judge only has the results of what happens on the street, in terms of what law enforcement chooses to do, in terms of what cases come before the judge. The judge doesn't have any effect on what comes into the courtroom. In terms of what comes into the courtroom, though, I think you have to remember, the judge's decision has to remember not only the impact of that particular case, but the impact on that individual, sometimes for the rest of their life. And in terms of doing that, there's plenty of kind of other opportunities that a judge has to see to it that somebody's not necessarily scarred for life by having come in there. And that's certainly something that I would consider. It was something I did as a state's attorney when I was making decisions on charging decisions. I didn't always charge people with felonies just because I could. I would take into account their life situation, whether it was their first time circumstance, whether or not they'd be eligible for programs that would give them, not necessarily affect them the rest of their lives.
Dave Shestokas, candidate for judge, Group 3. We wish you a lot of luck in your campaign. Thanks for coming out, okay?
Thank you so much, Lee.
Okay. As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like David and all the other fine people in his campaign who are doing it. We'll see you next week right here on Fox.